What are your thoughts on this real quick?
Much like Drew, Dijak's contract is up, so they may push him as an incentive to resign. It wouldn't surprise me if HBK and Co. want to wait to commit until Dijak's contract. I agree. I think that's strategy. I think that is part of it. I think it's kind of, look what we can do for you if you were to re-up. But if you don't, right, it is what it is. Would you take your chances? But I think it's almost like it puts the like, I don't even know what to call them, the wrestlers, my bad. It puts them in like a catch-22, because it's like, do you go out on a limb and really believe in yourself and really like be like, you know what, like, screw y'all, it is what it is. Like, I'm gonna just have faith and I'm gonna go elsewhere and make it work? Or do I, okay, this could happen if I re-up. The thing with WWE is you are gonna make good money. Like, you're not gonna be hurting for no cash, even if you're sitting in catering. Obviously you don't want to, but even if you're sitting in catering, you're gonna be making well over 6 figures a year anyway. Especially, well, him, not everybody in NXT, but he will. So it's
a brilliant contract mostly.
Yeah. So I think for him, they should start edging towards pushing him, just because he is such a great talent and it seemed like he got his mojo back. And I think he'll resign. Like, I really don't think he had a really good name on the indies, but I think he would go back on the indies for a while before going elsewhere again. And it's one of those things of, do you want to do that? Because now, because of like Matt Cardona, Nick Nemeth, and all these people, there's money in the indies now. But
and there's not even that, it's just money, it's opportunity in the indies. Because like, as much as we know him to be the wrestle god, and he had that stink, in that brief stink when he was just the deathmatch god, and
CZW, like, he was everywhere.
Even him, that same week, a lot of people don't remember, and a lot of people in the New York area, shout out to people in the chat that are from New York, he came to HOG 2 weeks later and won the HOG champ. So there's opportunity, just like Nick Nemeth was literally in Japan with New Japan Pro and then shows up to TNA.
Matt Riddle is literally wrestling like at a local indie show this weekend in my, like, near where I'm living now. Like, Kurt Angle's going to be there. Like, it's like so much money to be made in the indies now because the wrestling economy is so good. So I think it's up to Dijak. Like, do you want to rest on yourself, prove that you could do your thing? You're going to be booked well on the indies. And then maybe you sign with AEW or TNA and then you go back to WWE at a later date. Or do you have faith that Shawn Michaels and Triple H will remember like the person you were when you were with Keith Lee and stuff, and like be like, all right, we're going to push him now because he re-upped. I think it's just that's the game you play. That's the gamble you take when you're in that position as a wrestler.
What are your thoughts on this real quick?
Much like Drew.
Yes. I hope everybody can hear me, but I don't even know where that came from. Sorry. Ooh, is this on? It's been a minute. It's been a while. Let me know if I still exist. Am I not a figment of your imagination in the chat? Hopefully I'm not. But what's going on, everybody? Whew, it feels so good to be back, but it wouldn't be a traditional Tuesday before the big night on NXT without yours truly. I've missed you. I love you all. It's so much happened when I was gone that the title of what's going on seems highly appropriate. It is a state of NXT address tonight because we got a lot to discuss. Ricard's here, so that means that the senators have jumped in the building. Hey, Ricard, good evening. There's so much. Like, there's so much. I changed so much. Like since we've been here the last time together. I got a new mic. I got a new gut. Well, let me elaborate on that. I detoxed for a couple of days, so that was something in itself. I also ventured to the other side. I didn't do a lot of NXT-esque stuff, but I did go to an AEW show. That was really fun. I did get back into being the honorary wrestling girl that I felt like I needed to be. I needed to be her. I need to go back to being the honorary wrestling girl because like I miss it. Like I miss that aspect of me. I miss watching wrestling and just enjoying it. And I miss watching NXT and enjoying that. But it at the same time it can feel a little weird because I miss you guys and I miss talking to you guys about it. So without further ado, before I continue my little rant, let me, as I gear up to find you, y'all have not been here in so long. I don't even know how to use my platform. It's so weird. But what's going on, everybody? Per usual, it's your Honorary Wrestling Girl, Seindole B, and welcome to Watch What Happens NXT, your favorite live show, my favorite live show, the live show of all live shows. Just welcome back. I missed you. I really missed all your beautiful smiling faces. Isn't it a song? I think it's a song, right? Smiling faces. Oh, that definitely is a song. And see, look, my background's back, my color's back. Roman's still back there, even though he still hasn't shown up. You know, Luchador Mask is still back here. Same program, same channel. Do they still even have a lo-fi music here? I don't know. I've been so out of the loop. Let me see if my lo-fi channel is still back. Oh my god, they still have my lo-fi music. Start. There's so much that happened on NXT. There's so much I want to dive into. Before I even dive into anything, real quick, give a shout plug. Thank you to TWG, those wrestling girls, Miss KRISTA B, Miss Queen P.R. They have not fired me. I am still here. I'm still here with you every Tuesday. They are still dropping episodes every other Monday. They just dropped a new one yesterday. We still doing so many other things coming up. We still got TWG Fan Club, and of course, you already know that me and Queen PR, we hang out with It's Justin Rich and Mr. Brian H. Waters every Wednesday. We're still doing that. We're doing one tomorrow. I can't wait. It's John Cena Appreciation Night. You already know when I was on hiatus, right? He finally followed me back on Twitter, which I now know that it didn't take the win out of my sales when I found out he followed over 800,000 other people. But the fact that he found me, he saw the Honorary Wrestling Girl, and he told whoever on his team, listen, if they like wrestling, if they like me, if they like Peacemaker, let's just follow them back. I want to hear what they got to say. And he shows me, even though y'all know here on this space, I tend to get a little wild, my bad. But he chose to follow me, and it was a birthday wish come true, and I felt good. So there was that. Also, you can also find me going in part-time sometimes with schooling sessions with KRISTA B, CRISPA, CONTRERAS, and Pablo Don every Friday at 4 p.m. And I was just on there because me and KRISTA did have a bit of a interesting trip watching Forbidden Door. We had a lot of fun, not gonna lie. $30 drinks. We gotta talk about that because y'all wilding with that one. But like I said, all in all, it was good to have that little break. I needed a bit of a break. Personally, a lot of stuff's been going on, but I've dealt with it. I've done a good job. I've conquered through. I've sawn it through. So with that being said, I'm just happy to be back. I'm happy to be chilling with y'all, and I can't wait for y'all to hear y'all's opinions about what's been going on the last month. All the returns, all the surprises, the fact that I probably now believe in Joe Henry. I mean, he was thrown in my face so many times. So how can I not believe in Joe Henry? That's a different discussion for a different sector of the show. We got so much to get into. Before we do, I do want to cover there's a lot that I had to split up. There's a lot that I had to discuss. So I want to hear everybody's thoughts in the comments, but before we even get into that, I'm going to do a shameless plug. I want to shout out to everyone who's just been in this space, been supportive, being trying to be a collective, being honest, being open. I see everybody hard working, grinding. I see people being more interactive, people liking what they like, voicing what they don't like. But all in all, I'm very proud of this space. I'm very proud of this community. People dropping a lot of stuff, people supporting other brands like me. Like it's just been a whirlwind of stuff going on. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that sometimes. I mean, for a little bit, it took the funk out of me. I'm not going to lie. It was hard to come back and be motivated. But there was a lot of people that had my back. And there were a lot of people that within this space alone, they were really shooting for me to be what I know I could be better at. And that's this. Not because I like I said, I genuinely love doing this with y'all. And the thing I could continue to do is just keep talking and keep being me and keep spreading that message and keep driving and win sales home and just enjoy. Let's just keep enjoying watching wrestling. And then when it comes to NXT, I can just talk to y'all about NXT. Everything else, I'm gonna like what I like. Even if it's a different company that's not WWE, I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna enjoy it. Because that's life. You gotta enjoy life. Enjoy life and enjoy yourself. And drink your water and eat your vitamins. I sound like someone I don't like. That's the cue to first commercial. When we come back, I am going to round up every single backstage segment that I've liked. Because we are getting back into some backstage business. So I will be right back. But my money's on Lola. Lola doesn't need this loss. Lola losing at this point would actually make me upset because it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Okay, she learned, she spent all that time with you learning nothing enough to lose. It's not like the whole thing with Natty, where Natty didn't have that much background in Battleground and MMA, so where she had she needed to study to win. It was more of Shayna just needed someone as tough as Natty to be in her corner in case shit went left and to take Carmen out. Now there's none of that. What this loss will do if Lola does lose is just bring down her street cred even less, because she already lost a little bit of her pointer by losing the breakout tournament contract the way she lost it. She needs the boost. This is her boost. She needs to do it. She needs to do it properly. In my opinion, like I said, I don't think Shayna needs this win in particular. I understand. Listen, you were made in the underground. That's perfectly fine. You don't need to win this match. You don't need to win it. You just don't. And I great and great that it's set up in the UFC Apex. You don't need to win this match. She doesn't need to win this match. And that's just my fair opinion on that. So Lola's my take on a win on this one. Yeah, the loss on that would just make just about 0 cents. Really 0 cents. There's just so much Lola is my next up sometimes, because she proves that she has that aura. you know, Cuban Fiery, like she admitted, like she's like, I like to have fun. You know, they need to just stop putting her in teams because she don't do teams well. Leave her alone. She's proven time and time again she don't do teams well. Let's not fix a broken clock that don't want to chime when the alarm goes off. Just stop. But I think that in all fairness, give her this win. Like, give somebody the boost of I beat all the good people. Like, who else you got for me? If I'm cleaning the house, I'm cleaning the house. Give it the Kenny Omega effect. Because Kenny Omega was cleaning them old, new, freshly squeezed, expired. Any wrestler that came in his way, he called himself the cleaner. He wasn't calling it for no reason. So give her that effect. Why not? Let her have an undefeated, let her have an undefeated streak. These people that are from the other rosters are going to come and do that. You should be giving them the win. I understand you want them to have an obstacle. They should be having the win at all costs. If we're going to be really frank, if we're trying to develop people, give them that one loss. But major matches like that, they need to have that hometown advantage. You need to have that home state advantage. And I think this is the match that she has that home state advantages.
Well, that aged well. We're going to get more into that. That aged so well. First of all, shout out to my mic breaking, which caused the first hiatus because your girl can't talk without a mic. And shout out to the person that liked me enough to get me a Rode mic. So that's what we're talking on today. So shout out to Rode mic and creating podcast equipment for people like me who like to break stuff. Interesting thing. We're going to talk about backstage business because what I think I'm going to roll into one of my top 5 backstage businesses that have been going on is just Ava. Ava. I enjoy Ava as GM. I don't know if it's just me. She has the patience of a monk because the way that people just storm in her office, want to help her out, not really help her out, tell her what to do, her whole back and forth with Roxanne Perez right now has to be the most typical like main roster. You expect it on a main roster. Like you expect, like we always expected like Chelsea Green to always annoy the hell out of Adam Pearce and stress him out, but their interaction is different because it's just Roxanne thinking that she's just supposed to be like the end all be all. And then you have someone, it's weird because you have her throwing tantrums and shit, and then you have someone like Oba Femi who's just coming in calmly and going, so who is next? Who will come for my title? What mountain should I climb? Like he comes in and then she's like, there's a fatal 4-way and there's battle royal, and then she, at one point I think he was picking his own opponent, so I think she kind of just was like, yeah, you got that, do you fam? Don't put me in that. But all in all, I think I like Ava. I like all the Ava segments. I like Ava how she's handling everything, even up to the segment work she's been doing inside the ring. Like I don't know how she dealt with like Sexy Red like twerking in the middle of the ring and stuff like that. But she handled that well. And, you know, I think that if it's a representation of, listen, we know Ava was originally supposed to wrestle. That didn't work out for her. I mean, in my personal opinion, it didn't work out too great for her. But that's my personal opinion. But at the same time, she found this role and she's been excelling at it. So I don't think there's room to just wrestle in WWE. They've proven that. And NXT, I feel like they've kind of gotten their ground of like, all right, they need a general manager, and that person was Ava. And then, like I said, I think it's interesting too what's going on with the whole Robert Stone kind of being like the second party confirmer right now for her, and dealing with Stevie Turner and all this stuff that's going on. And now he's delivering messages for Ava. I think it's pretty interesting. I think that dynamic is interesting because they've been trying to find a role for Robert Stone for a while. Like he's been there for a minute. Like he's been someone's squash pit. He was with Von Wagner for a while, and unfortunately Von Wagner got released. There's just been
he needs a place to stay. They not giving him a place to stay. So I don't know. I want to be real about it. I'm waiting to see what happens next for that dynamic, because I don't think Robert Stone really has that much of a place at NXT. He's been there too long. And then like Ava's got this on her own. Like if you go, like she's like, from the time she's been GM down, like she's been hitting every single mark to the point where they're boosting her on the show and they're like, listen, Ava, you booked the great show. No, we all know it's Sean that's staring the spoon, the pot in the back. We get it. But however, she's doing a great job. Like even from the open call, I was like, this girl's got it. So shout out to Ava. She's one of my top 5 backstage segments. I look forward to when people walk into her general office. It gives me that vibe of like when people used to just storm into Teddy Long's office. And you didn't really get that with like the John Laurinaitis era. You got that more with the Teddy Long era, and you got that more with like the Stephanie McMahon era when she was GM of SmackDown. You got that more in that. So that's what that vibe gives me. So I enjoy that. Another backstage segment that I seem to be enjoying is, listen, y'all are annoyed with him. I enjoy Lexis King sticking his nose in shit that don't smell to him. I thoroughly enjoy him being backstage when JCJ broke her nose. And Jasmine was trying to get everybody to sign the card, and he was like, your biggest fan, Lexis King. It didn't even have a get well soon. And Jasmine was like, that wasn't the point you signed the damn card. So that, like him, I know recently on NXT, Eddie Thorpe, and that, I'm going to talk about that in a second, because we got all these packages from Eddie Thorpe, right? And then we find out he's a DJ on the side. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Did I miss something? Like he had packages, and I thought that, mind you, I know I'm talking about Lexis King. We can talk about Lexis King in a different second, because it was weird not having him on this last previous PLE. But I get it. Beggars can't be choosers. You can't be everywhere. For me, that was the weirdest jump I've probably ever seen. Like how do you go from honoring previous Native American wrestlers, right? Mind you, they already released one like a couple of weeks ago that was barely on the show to begin with. That's fine. That's the business. But how do you go from being on, I want to say like a heritage kind of thing, like where you're giving acknowledgement to those Native Americans before you. Maybe I'm missing it, but then he was in the backstage segment, and him and Lexis King are going back and forth about what's real music and what's not. Of course, Lexis King, you know, he looks like what's the guy's name? Tiger King? I forgot his name already. He looks like that with the mullet, only his mullet is perfectly colored. His beard is weirder than the Lion King, the Lion Tiger King or whatever. And then you have Lexis King talking about some, this is the stuff that I play, it's EDM. And I'm just like did we mess up? Like there's so much probably into it that I'm not seeing yet, right? I'm not seeing it yet. So I'm gonna leave that there. But I enjoy those backstage segments. I enjoy those. Another top 5 backstage segment. Yeah, thank you, Vaughn, and welcome, Vaughn. Welcome back, previous guest of Watch What Happens at NXT. Thank you so much. That's the name, Joe Exotica. I don't know. I don't care. I think Tiger King is weird to begin with, because why the hell do you want to be a tiger tamer, and why do you think that gives you so much poutine in Florida? But whatever. I digress. Anyways, the other backstage segment that's been interesting to me. I just lost my train of thought. Let me go back to it for a second. I lost my train of thought. Let me go back to my little list. I'm going back to my list. Give me 1 second, y'all. Oh, no one's been paying attention to the fact that Sean Spears has been low key talking to all the up and coming NXT superstars. Yeah, we're off Alexis King. I'm tired of him. I'm tired of his mullet, but I love him in backstage segments, so he's good. Let's talk about how Sean Spears, before he had this championship match at HEATWAVE, he's been talking to the youth in NXT. Like, it was one segment, if you guys pay attention, and I'm trying to pull it up, is one segment that you usually pay attention to that he has. He's been talking to Tyrone and Tigress, who are a new tag team. Then he's talking to another tag team. Then he was talking to a bunch of girls. Like, look, like, I don't know whether he's trying to develop like a cult following or whether he's trying to just manipulate the youth, because he's like one of the oldest talent down there right now since Dijak's gone. I don't know what he's doing. I want to find out what he's doing. I think that's interesting. They put little gems and stuff like that. Like, they always trying to experiment on NXT. I noticed that because before Daniel Chen came back, he was like walking backstage with like the face scratch and all that stuff. I think that's interesting. I think, to say the least, that people were wondering what Sean Spears' motive is. I think I'm gonna say there's an interesting motive even in this, what happened on Sunday, because what happened on Sunday shocked a lot of people, and I can't wait to dive into that, because when I say it shocked a lot, like I specifically mean me. Like, I screamed at the TV when that happened, but we're gonna get into that later. Another thing that I've been thoroughly enjoying is Ariana Grace. You already know I'm rooting for that girl 1000%. Like, her backstage segments, like even the way she got this match at HEATWAVE was interesting. I'm gonna dive into that, but just her, I know that people were kind of confused with her and the whole Gigi Dolan thing going on. Like, she was supposed to turn her into, like, give her a makeover and turn her into Miss NXT, and it looked like it was done, but that's only because Gigi Dolan is injured, torn ACL. She's gonna be out for a while, and I think they were trying to find a way to integrate her, so to speak, but they couldn't do it. But we'll see what happens, because I think there's a lot more for Ariana Grace too. I like how she and Carmen Petrovich kind of became a team for the sake of Canada, because they're both from Canada. Shout out to the good old Canadian border. I think that was interesting, and I think it was very more interesting when Ariana Grace basically tried to take credit for the in the pre-show. And was like, Carmen, it was me who did all the work. Like, I'm the reason why you got the pin in the first place. Like, you want to like her, but it was very heel of her at the same time. I just think that, I don't know, I think it's funny. She was like, it was me. I think we've proven that I am the superior one in the group. Say what you want about Ariana Grace, but I like her. I'm sorry. She's turned into one of my favorites. I know when she walked out into the ring, my brother had pointed out, he's like, yo, is she crying? Like, is she pageant crying? And she was like this, and she was like pageant crying as she walked out in Canada, which is good for her. You know, I believe, I'm not sure, was that her first PLE? No, it was her first PLE home, which I love for them. I like that they gave Carmen and Ariana Grace that moment. I dig that, but I like the backstage interview after they won even more. I'm sorry. It's like top two. It's top two before the one of what happened, and I found that to be interesting. I just think that they put a lot of work into their character. Ariana Grace is definitely one of those girls that has. It made me happy again to see her win. It was a full circle moment for the both of them, and I'm just proud of them both. I just loved it. I just loved it. Speaking of, the last backstage segment that I have that I loved is when Cody Rhodes showed up and gave and not only did he hang out, he got invited to the cookout. We all know that happened. But I like when he saw JCJ who had her nose broken, and I need them to get back on track with that. By the way, like if you're gonna have what's her name get her lick back at Thea Hale for breaking the nose, finish with Thea Hale before you start going after other people from Canada. Okay, finish with the grown ass woman, man. Like, can we get back on the long term booking? Like, Carmen didn't break your nose, sis. Thea did. So let's get back on track with that. But I like that he showed up. He came to NXT. JCJ's nose is obviously broken. It was broken in real life, by the way. She was out for a couple of months. And then he gives her the smoke and mirrors mask from when he was ugly Cody Rhodes, when he was grotesque. A full circle moment, because you know what's crazy? Because if anybody remembers when they first really started Toxic Attraction, like Mandy Rose had broken her nose and she also had to wear a faceplate, and then she came back, she had new hair, she wasn't blonde anymore, and then they started dominating the hell out of NXT. I'm like, maybe it's a face mask that you need to win the maybe you need that. Maybe you need that to win the North American Championship. Now there's 2 belts now, you know, it's not just one, it's 2. But I find it interesting. I just think that the backstage segments, they tell more to the story. It definitely, like, Homegirl still out there feeling like hot shit with a broken mask. At one point, she had even like treated the mask like gold, because obviously, I guess they think that Cody Rhodes' stink is great enough to help them win. And I'm not gonna lie, I concur. Like, I mean, if it's gonna take Cody Rhodes' sweat for me to win a championship, I mean that man he's the WWE Championship. I'm keeping the mask. Like, I don't care if you sneezed in it. That's extra luck for me at this point. So I can kind of guess where she's coming from with that. But I just thought that was my favorite backstage segment going in. I mean, all the other backstage segments have like people getting jumped and stuff, so there's no point in me really diving into that. I am enjoying honorable mention that my boys, Gallus, still have a feud going on. They're feuding with a new tag team, and I need them to kind of get back also into the fold of being a tag team, because I actually like Gallus. I want Joe Coffey and Mark Coffey to have the titles together because they're brothers. I'm on that train of the tag teams that are functioning getting the tag team belts, which is why when I dive into what I dive into later with Heatwave, I have my grievances about it, I have my likes about it, I have my dislikes about it. But all in all, I just have a lot. It's just a lot. Before I go into that, I'm going to dive into some stuff that happened outside the ring, of course. You had my other favorite moment that happened outside of NXT. You had Jordan Grace open call being answered by, and I need them to put her back on TV real soon, by Tatum Paxton. And I just thought that because Tatum Paxton looked so much up to Daphne, that it was kind of like having Daphne in TNA again. That I just enjoyed that so much. She even did like her move, which I was like, oh, that's like a ultimate sign of respect. Like, you came into her ground before, unfortunately, we lost her. And you kind of paid her that homage. I enjoyed that. Another thing that I enjoyed in this WWE versus TNA, or it should be XTNA, right? I wonder if I should change that. It should probably be XTNA. We're going to change that for a second, guys. Hold on. Let's see. Well, no, never mind. We're keeping it. In that version of it, you also had Charlie Dempsey show up on TNA, and I like where it's going. Obviously, Charlie Dempsey, if you're going to pick someone who can benefit from both exposures, I mean, look at who his father is. He's done really well and making a name for himself without his dad. So I think it made the most logical sense to probably have him over there. I also think that there's more than one person from NXT obviously going to TNA, and I also think that there's someone from TNA that we all really want to see in NXT. And it was somebody that I did not believe in, because I don't understand why y'all like this song. Like, it's just it the song very much gives like what's that? What are those churches? Those really big mega churches that make up their own songs and they sing it, and like the Joe Wallstein, but like with singing only. Evangelic. I'm saying it wrong. I apologize to anybody who's a part of that faith, but I can't say it properly. Y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. The people that just like try and inspire you through Christian music. Those type of things. Joe Henry just gave me that vibe. We're gonna dive into the battle royal real quick because that's gonna lead my story up to HEATWAVE, which I am gonna talk about pretty soon. I just think that was interesting that obviously they were waiting for a long time to get somebody like Joe Henry, because people, the first thing when they saw Jordynne Grace show up to NXT, I just think that they were like, oh my God, Jordynne Grace, like, who else can come? And everyone was like, Joe Henry. And I'm just like, what do y'all see in this man? Vaughn, here you go. See what I mean, y'all? Like, is it the hair? Maybe it's the hair. Is it the fact that he's like built like you're like? He very much gives me. He doesn't even remind me of anybody. That's the interesting part. Like, he doesn't remind me of any past wrestler or anything like that. Like, we already had somebody that we believed in. We believed in Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas is going through some other things right now. He's dealing with the demons over there. We're going to leave him alone for a second. But just the fact that, like, what does he remind you guys of? Y'all let me know in the comments, please. Because one is flabbergasted of what y'all see in Joe Henry. For a while, I was just like, I saw one person post a clip and they're like obsessed with him. And then I realized he's in a feud with AJ Francis. Shout out to AJ Francis. Going to be at Jobber Slam August 24th. Shameless Folk from Jobber Tears podcast. Shout out to them. And y'all can blame AJ Francis for us people trying to believe in Joe Henry. And there we go. Okay. No, Dean Simmons scares me, Vaughn. That man scares me. Him and his curly top. But I see where the comparisons lies. He's just like super energetic and super smiley. In that case, he reminds me of David Hasselhoff. Can nobody like unsee? Like, maybe it's me. Maybe let me download a picture of David Hasselhoff and see if y'all can't see. Let's see. This guy's even on my Google. Like, what do y'all see in this guy? Joe Henry. Okay, he's a Scottish performer, wrestler, and musician. Right, he's multi-talented. So, like, he really gives me David Hasselhoff vibes. Like, David Hasselhoff can sing, he can act, he can dance. And then you got this Joe Henry guy that looks like he could sing and out wrestle you. Let me see. So on HEATWAVE, after that match, that controversial match, I know about you know what's funny? I literally watched NXT and I realized that they had plugged a Joe Henry like vision clip in there, and I'm like, y'all not slick. I know what you guys are trying to do. You guys are trying to get us to adapt to him. And listen, he ain't need no adapt, because when I watched that battle royal, they popped for that man. When I tell you the lid blew off the place, the way the lid blew off when Trick Williams won the championship, yo, I've never seen nothing like that. And he's not even on their roster. But listen, that's the power of the internet, baby. The internet will help you. The internet will make you or break you, and they making that man, because for him to trend on iTunes, and let me see if I can pull up this song. I don't want to get kicked off. I just need to see what the hype is about this real quick, because I'm like, and then oh my God, I looked at so many like reactions of him getting eliminated, and people were pissed, because I guess people were pissed. Shout out to Wrestling Wind Down with Lo. Lo was mad. I was listening to this show and she was like, that's all you get. Because people were like waiting for him to show up, like, and I'm like, okay, again, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I don't see it. Maybe I need to see it a little bit more, but I wasn't with the vibe, bro. Maybe that's just me. I wasn't getting it. Like, because somebody explained to me what the aura of this man is, besides the fact that I think listen, his name is David Hasselhoff in my head now. I'm like, literally, because now even he just appeared in an NXT commercial that's supposed to roll for tonight. And you're not even on the roster. That's interesting. Let me see. Yeah, this is very. Maybe it's the accent. Does he have any other songs? No, it's just that. How many plays has this gotten? Wait. Did he just say Joe Henry? Yo, I feel like I just tuned into Sunday morning at church on a PBS. What was that? But they popped and clapped for this man. So listen. If he challenges for the North American Championship and Obafemi hurts his man, I'm blaming all of you. It's all on y'all. It's your fault. This is the internet's fault, okay? It's your fault. Yours, not mine. Because I don't know what that was. It went from the church to an electric Creed solo ending. That's what that just gave me. Like, and no shout out to Creed or Dog. I like Creed. And I think Daughtry's cool for all the moms out there. But like that's what it just gave me. Like, I felt like I was about to hear the lead singer of Daughtry just say he believed in Joe Henry too. And he gave himself compliments in the song. And then I had to look him up more a little bit. And I remembered that in the AJ Francis feud, he wrote a song that sounds like Creed. And it was called "Can You Please Get Fired?" I don't know. Listen, bring him back because maybe he'll have a cool backstage segment too. Because I need me more of those. I just the guitar, y'all, it threw me off. Like I didn't know what to. I was gonna say something else now. I had a brain fart, but because that fucking guitar came out of nowhere. It was like a long Shrewd. It was like a long. I could imagine somebody with long hair and an open chest T-shirt doing that solo, but I digress. That's my personal opinion. Back to NXT stuff. Anyways, it was good. The battle royal was really good. It was good to see Javon Evans win. It was also good to see Frankie Kazarian win because I thought that him eliminating Joe Henry would have led to something, but I don't know. So other people were saying it was just because Frank Kazarian really wanted to be on NXT. I'm not sure, but I was happy to see him. They let him come out first by himself. The Battle Royal had people from the main roster and NXT roster, and I'm like, why are the main roster people here? Because again, like you have a ton of guys in the back that you could just toss over the top rope for one good spin, and no one will be heard about it. But yes, it was won by Javon Evans. Yes, he is the Black 1-2-3 kid. I agree. He's very bouncy. He's very energetic. His spots scare the fuck out of me sometimes because he literally, I think at one point he like smashed his ribs into the side of the announce table and was profuse in blood. He scares me. You are young. You are small. Please don't ever do that again. But then he did it again Sunday. We're going to dive into that. I just think that crossover is interesting. I can't wait to see if they do more with Charlie Dempsey because he did show up and kind of attack people on Thursday. A lot of people are rumoring around that Moose might show up to NXT eventually. There's talks. I don't know. I don't follow rumors. Normally, when I don't know something, I just shut up and I wait for it to happen, and that's what I'm gonna do with that. I'm not gonna bring any much into it for my own sake. But yeah, I'm gonna listen after that whole guitar riff, child. You just brought back. You just gave Daughtry back their opening. I'm a believer. I don't know. A lot of people, I was like, I don't believe in this guy. I don't see what you guys see. Shout out to Josh, because Josh looked at me sideways. Shout out to Big Big Baby Dre. He looked at me sideways. I'm like, yeah, like what is there to believe in? But I believe, child, especially after that Rock solo moment, because that was serious. That was interesting as hell. That scared me, because I was just like, what the heck was that? But I'm gonna try. That might be my new ringtone. Remember, wrestling friends call. No, that would be too much. We're doing too much. Real quick before we get into HeatWave predictions, Dijak out and Kemp out while I was gone. That was interesting. Today it was actually announced that Damon Kemp, who is known as Bobby Stevenson, is out of the WWE. He actually tweeted about it on X, and that's how I found out. There was a big deal with him because a lot of you don't know. Fun fact: he's actually Gable Stevenson's brother. Bob Stevenson and Gable Stevenson's are brother. He's older than his brother, and he was there first. And then he had that great run. I remember the storyline with him trying to join the Diamond Mine with Roderick Strong, and then him being Roderick Strong's attacker, and Julius Creed kind of like took over Diamond Mine, and I think it was around the same time that Stokely left too. So it was kind of like them trying to fight back for Diamond Mine, and the other brother had gotten kicked out. So like Julius Creed had this really big, like, I think it was like an ambulance match they had at Halloween Havoc, and I think that was one of my favorite matches in the 2.0 era for that Halloween Havoc match. And they had a good job. He also did a really good job. I feel like Damon Kemp, when he had a feud with Eddie Thorpe, and it was interesting because Gable Stevenson started trading Eddie Thorpe to go up against him in the Underground, and he ended up losing Underground to that. And it was just interesting because I feel like they kind of gave him the short end of the stick, because after his brother got released, I think they were probably banking on like, hey, if you're successful, your brother would be successful. And they made a big deal because they're both Olympiads. And obviously we now know Gable wasn't what he was supposed to be. He's no longer with the company, but he's doing well. He's now on the Buffalo Bills, and now his brother's gone, and it's just going to say the same thing. I don't think anything different of how I felt about Gable Stevenson being gone. He'll be great and pick up on his feet somewhere else, and I think that Bobby Stevenson will do the same thing. So best of luck to him. I can't wait to see what he does next, because listen, I've heard their background story a little bit. They'll be fine. They're very great athletes, and like I always say, it's not the end of the world. When they release you, it's just they don't have anything for you right now. So that's my thought on that. What did disappoint me was the fact that there's no more Dijak. I was livid. I'm not livid that he decided to make the right decision and not continue his contract, because according to the things that I don't know, he was going to get released anyway because they didn't have anything for him. I do believe the story and him getting the NXT championship opportunity and them taking it away from him for obvious reasons. I thought that he tore the house down with Obafemi and Josh Briggs at Stand Deliver, and I was like, finally giving him a chance. He was doing great even before that. So to hear that they told him they didn't have anything for him and he was just like, all right, I'm out. It's something that happens. It's the business, it's wrestling, and like I said, when they don't have anything for you, they just don't have anything for you right now. It is what it is, honey. Can't be mad at it. Can't be mad at it all, can you? Not really. But we gonna dive right into one more thing that I've been doing on NXT, and that is Miss Jada Parker whooping ass in black Air Forces like it's the back of the schoolyard with Michin. Michin coming back to NXT and then still being able to do SmackDown is heaven's gold. I love that they're giving her this much exposure because we've been like, what's going on with you, sis? Like, what are they not doing for you? And then it comes to find out this is what they're doing for you. I love that. Michin deserves all the open windows in the world to climb through. I'm rooting for her 1000%, but that street fight, child, that should have been on HEATWAVE. Like, what the hell? That should have been a HEATWAVE match. That should have been your 6th match at HEATWAVE, because damn. But, you know, it is the business. You know, this is still a business that doesn't want women outshining men. You can't eat too hard. I mean, we're not going to go back to the days of making you go do the match over because you did too well. That would be evil. But yeah, that should have been a HEATWAVE match. That would have been a fire ass HEATWAVE match. You wouldn't be able to compete with that type of HEATWAVE match. The card was a little less this time. It wasn't oversaturated, I guess, because it was a post Money in the Bank PLE, so they didn't want to saturate too much. But every single banger on that card was a banger. Like, every single one was a banger on that card. So I'm going to dive into first with the... I'm going to dive in with the women first. Because the men, you already know what it was. Wesley wasn't getting that belt back. It's going to be Obafemi. Wesley's going to have to find himself. He needs to go on and get the WWE NXT championship. Because you kind of overdue, bro. Like, there's nothing... What are you going to do? Go for the Heritage Cup? I don't think so. My Shawn Michael hat's telling you need to go for the WWE Championship match. Or if you want to go for the Heritage Cup, go ahead. It'd be like it'd be a complete like confusion to me. I mean, Tony D'Angelo's just sitting there shining it up and drinking wine out of it, so I don't see it why it would hurt. But I just feel like it'll be a complete waste of time for him to go and do that. So we're gonna see. I also enjoy the fact that Kalani Jordan has been champion, and she's been what we all thought she was going to be. She's a workhorse. Of course, her opponent was Sol Roca, and you might as well have just made that a scene out of Stick It, because they literally just put on a gymnastics meet, but then they followed up with some good grapples, good energy, good spots, not a botch in sight. I don't know how they pulled that off, because every other match has had a misstep or a botch. I did not see one botch in sight. And it's comical that people have a problem with them being jumpy and high flyy, but then when men in mass do it, it's oohs and ahs left and right. But that's a different discussion for a different day, probably a Thursday. Hope Justin's watching so you can put in notes. Oh no, wait, they're doing... Oh, shout out to Justin. Is Justin Rich over there with the Black Wrestling podcast, doing great things over the Black Wrestling podcast, and they always have Turnbuckle Talk every single Tuesday, 6:35, with Mimi, the wrestling chick, and My Fix and My Kicks. And shout out to him because his gear, shout out to him because his outfits this weekend, perfection. He's slowly, him and Patricia have become my fashion inspirations here and there, along with Hill is on Instagram when it comes to the wrestling gear and looking good in it. They become my A1. So shout out to them. Shout out to Corey and Liz and Queen PR. They're getting there. We're getting there. Looking good and doing good with it. I just think that also, if you're gonna come at them like that, at least know who they are before you come at them like that. Before you come at them like that, I think you should get to know who they are. They're both D1, former D1 athletes, one in gymnastics, one in tumbling. Both have transitioned to WWE very well. Of course, one was set back from an injury, while the other one was learning her place and getting involved in storylines and just trying to be harder. So I think that it just sort of took Rocco more time. I would have loved to see that match happen at like if they were to bring back In Your House, because I knew they were going to bring back Great American Bash, and I'm surprised it's on Sci-Fi. That just gave me SmackDown vibes. So somebody needs to have a cookout in the NXT parking lot. Hopefully they do a welcome back party for Metaphor. Let's see what happens with that. I think that they just need to, I don't know. I just think it was too soon for me. That was the only qualm that I really, really have. Other than that, the match was great. Like, it's a workhorse title. They put on a good show. And then you wonder how they were gonna follow up after the men in this. That's one of the matches where you'd be like, oh, how do you, there's no way you can follow up with that. And they're like, all right, bet. And they followed up really well with it. It's two faces fighting, so there's no beef. Of course, there was good sportsmanship on both ends. So really, there's no continuations of a storyline. I know on social media, some people are like, "Oh, Kalani Jordan, he's the perfect champion." Like, what did I say when she won that belt? Or well, before she even won that belt, she's great. Kalani Jordan is A1. She's top of the line. She really does stand out. But bitch is gonna be mad, and that's who you need to give the title to. That's your storyline. Like, bitches is mad. They just gonna be mad. They cannot be her. Like, you're talking about someone who's a former gymnast who learned how to grapple and use their abilities to be one of the best on the roster in such a short time. Such a short damn time. Talking about close to 2 years for Kalani Jordan. And of course we know they've probably been training longer than that. Nashville was about, holy shit, wait. Nashville was 3 years ago. Been that short of a time and you doing that. Listen, PWI women coming out. I want to see where she's placed. Listen, her being new ain't got shit to do with where she's placed, but it's gonna have a lot to do with where she's placed. And she's the first of champion. I hope they get it right. Shout out to everybody at PWI. I know y'all gonna do y'all due diligence, but don't mess that up. Anyways, I'm interested to see who steps up next. It looks like it's gonna be probably Fallon Henley who steps up. And yeah, Sando, if you don't have anything else to say, don't say it at all. The heel run, I need more of. I need to see where it's going. It's dry. That was mean. It's dry right now. Just like, not dry as in you'll choke on bread dry, but almost dry as in like, I just need a little bit of ketchup on one side of the burger type dry. Just to give it some. And I think she could do it. I think when you're in a role for so long and you're taught to be preppy, and mind you, like, I know that Fallon Henley has it in her because she used to be on the indie circuit. She was in AEW, and she kind of like fed into the role when she was doing like dark matches and stuff like that. So I know she has it in her. It's somewhere in there. She's gotta find it. Like, everybody tries to find it. I think she just gotta find it. So nothing more, nothing less about that. Anyway, moving on. What else should we talk about? Oh, do I even want to talk about the tag team championships right now? I will. I'm stuck in the same boat of why we still have people that aren't full tag teams being put together. And then they almost gave me hope they were going to lose that belt, because Nathan Frazier was nowhere to be found. He said, I'm in Canada. I'm outside. And he had homeboy stress. He actually was stressing because it was going to be the push come to shove when there he was about to defend them tag team belts by himself. And they lucky they left Rich Holland home, because that wasn't going to happen. But I thought that match was really great. It was a lot of close calls. I feel like every time they want to give it back to Chase U, they just snatch it away from them. And I don't think it's a teachable moment in don't go for the tag team belts. I think it's a teachable moment is we just not ready for you yet, because we gave you the tag team championships before. And then I didn't like how that happened too, because they kind of like took it away from them too quickly. So maybe they do deserve to be 2-time tag team champions, or maybe they just need to give Andre Chase something to do and give the rest of them all their own thing. Like I liked when it was Thea Hale just going for the women's championship. She hasn't done that in a long time. I want her to do that again, especially now there's a North American championship in the grass. I think she just needs to focus on that. I think that Riley Osborne will make a excellent, and I say excellent North American champion if he can get it away from Obafemi first, because I don't know if anybody's going to take that away from him. But it was just a lot of it was a lot of, it was also jumpy, but then again, like I said, when it's men do it, it's fine. When it's women, it's a different story. So we're gonna have to see what happens with that next. But all in all, yeah, it's just I was really disappointed again. I feel like I always get disappointed when the guys don't win that I want them to win. And I wanted them to kind of have that because like they've been a tag team for such a long time. Like Chase has been trying to motivate them kids for so long, and it's just not happening the way it's supposed to happen. And it's just like, why isn't it happening the way it's supposed to happen? Like, what are we missing from them? Like, what more do we want out of Chase U? I mean, he can only, like I said, have teachable moments so many times, but it's just like, bro, like after a while, like, what are you trying to teach me? And like I said, it's not even just to take off of like, I don't believe in them. I don't think the company believes in them. I think the gimmick is starting to run its course. They're kind of like become the spirit squad of NXT. And I hate to turn them so much because I actually enjoy when Chase U comes on. But it's like, what is next? Like, and you know what was funny to me? I was hoping that Ridge Holland being there would add something. And so far, it's not adding anything. So what's going on is my question. Like, what are we doing with this? Can y'all tell me what we're doing with this? And then we take it from there because I don't think anybody else knows what we're doing with this. And that's just my fair opinion. Like a lot of people, like I said, like they've become the spirit squad of NXT, but like, what are you doing with them? Kind of like the same thing with Metaphor. If you're not having them host like if you're not gonna have them host like Stand and Deliver or a PLE, or have them open PLE, or do like a back to school type thing, NXT version. Like if you're not going to do any of that, like what are they really doing there? It's enough it's enough talent now to saturate. They should have been moved up. I feel like Duke Hudson is just stuck in NXT. Like what are we doing? What are we doing, guys? Can we let me know so I know what side I could be on? Because I don't know what side I'm supposed to be on. And it's just like when I look at all four of them, and I'm going to put their picture up here real quick. When I look at all four of them, they all have the potential to thrive in different places. Like especially with Duke Hudson and Thea Hale, they have such an exception to like thrive elsewhere. What are we missing with them? Like why is Andrew Chase need to find different partners to have a tag team belt with? Why can't he be on his own? Why, like every time he comes close to the tag team belts, they finally had it for the first time, and then like they had to have a whole cheating scandal to be, how do I say this properly? The whole cheating scandal of it all, right? It was interesting for a while, and they had JC, and JC kind of gave it some flavor. But then after that, again, we lost in translation. Like we don't know what's going on, and that kind of bothers me a little bit. I don't know why it doesn't bother anybody else. Probably because they want like to keep the Chase U pick stickers. That's fine. Do how you feel, but at the same time, it should be interesting in you to see why the hell, like why are those guys still there? Why are they still there? You should be questioning that. but I don't feel like nobody's questioning enough. I don't think anybody cares. Somebody else is caring. I'm moving on. That's just gonna be it. What else? We got time for one more commercial break, and then I'm going to dive into my favorite matches of the night. The women killing it. Lola Vice and Roxanne Perez killing it. I can't wait to talk about that. And then I have a little something to say about. Let's see. There we go. And shout out to Broadcast Live Studios on X. I'm glad I could see X again. But like, it's ran its course, like exactly. Like, remember when the Spirit Squad started slowly running its course? They just had Homeboy squashing them all left and right and center, and then they all disappeared piece by piece. Whether it was backstage stuff that happens, like it's really run its course. Like honestly, when they closed the school and they saved Chase U, I was like, well, I was one of them people like, well, it was good. It was good. I feel like I don't know what they're waiting on. I don't know what they're waiting on. I think they're probably waiting on the way they were waiting on, like, maybe they need to have a John Cena version of the tour. That was sensitive. I'm sorry to anybody who's a big John Cena fan. I'm a big John Cena fan. That's my birthday twin. But, like, maybe they're waiting for that to run its course the same way everything else is running its course. But it needs to run its course. They're not letting it. Like, they need to say, like, when they were about to close the school, honestly, I was like, well, it's the end of an era. The 2.0 is officially gone. Like, them dismantling as a school, and then Trick Williams was about to leave at the same time. No, sorry. Carmelo Hayes was about to leave at the same time, and then the Wolf Dogs got split up, and Braun got sent to the main roster, and Ilya went with them. And the only people that are left from the 2.0 generation are, like, JC Lash, who they just keep surpassing her. Roxanne Perez came at the end of the 2.0. Nakia Lyons is not there right now. They done revamped Wendy Chu into like this like cute Tales from the Crypt version, the cute version of it. Cora Jade's out on injury. Nikita's out on injury. There's not a lot of people left from the 2.0 era. So if that school had closed, it would have been like, all right, it's the end of the era. That's fine. But I want to see where everybody else ends up. And that's just that, in my opinion, before I move on. But thanks to the comment on that, because that's exactly how I feel. It's definitely run its course. What else can we talk about? Again, quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into what happened on the final matches for NXT HEATWAVE. And yes, I totally agree. He should be going after the Heritage Cup again and just win the Heritage Cup, in my opinion. That's where I think he should go. That's where I think exactly where it belongs. I don't have a problem with it. I know a lot of people don't have a problem with it. But yeah, it's gonna make me hard to hate her. And it's like I said, like it literally, like, and I understand, like and Josh was with me when I said it. I said, girl, like, and you lost your belt, and again, what is wet, and the sun is on one side and not on the other. We know all this. Like, you know, there's war in other countries. Like, we know. Like, get to the point. Like, wait, like, what you about to do? And then she finally did it.
In that promo, even when she was like, I lost my title and like I passed out, and for 12 months, I was like, okay, so we've seen so many people lose their title and not get another shot back. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And this is when I mean I need her to really be healed. I almost need her to change her moveset. I want Carmelo to also. I'm like, I don't want to see all that exciting high flying shit. Just start beating bitches down. Make me mad. Yeah.
I need you to pull up. Like, it's gonna make me hard to hate her. And it's like I said, like it literally, like, and I understand, like and Josh was with me when I said it. I said, girl, like, and you lost your belt, and again, what is wet, and the sun is on one side and not on the other. We know all this. Like, you know, there's war in other countries. Like, we know. Like, get to the point. Like, wait, like, what you about to do? And then she finally did it.
In that promo, even when she was like, I lost my title and like I passed out, and for 12 months, I was like, okay, so we've seen so many people lose their title and not get another shot back. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And this is when I mean I need her to really be healed. I almost need her to change her moveset. I want Carmelo to also. I'm like, I don't want to see all that exciting high flying shit. Just start beating bitches down. Make me mad.
Yeah. I need you to pull up.
Like,
I need you. Listen, shout out to Pablo Don, who, when I probably start talking about this, it's probably going to be like we eat our words, because this match that I'm about to talk about really set the tone to make it hard to follow up with that. Like, we expect the men's kind of be hard to follow up with NXT, but the girls have been serving. They've been serving us filet mignon. Like, we've been eating good. We've been eating surf and turf. We've been eating from Mama's Kitchen. We're not getting canned ragu over here. We eating Nona sauce, okay? Like, in the Liberian culture, we not just eating rice, we eating jollof. We eating steamed fish, and we eating from the pot. We're not eating from different bowls. This match right here, hands down the match of the night. Like, building up to it, right? And I want to dive into building up to it. I was kind of wondering, like really wondering where Lola was going to go after her big win at Battleground. And it was a big win. No matter how you slice it and dice it, was big for her. She needed it. Like I said in the previous comment that I opened it up to, she needed it more than Shayna Baszler. And this is why. She gets a championship opportunity. She lets Roxanne know, like, I'm coming for that belt. And what I think was interesting was that they slowly but surely made the people cheer for her, because, like, where are we going to go as a heel? There's no space for her on that North American Championship route, because she's already gone for the WWE Championship. And it's not to say that the going backwards would have been a bad thing for her. No, I think that someone of her talent, of her caliber, especially someone with this lethal hands, I did not know this girl was a master, first of all, in black belt. I didn't even know that she trained with the American Top Team. She trained with American Top Team. She trained American Top Team. She was in that gym. She's trained along the sides of like Paige Van Zandt. She did Bellator. If you guys don't know, fun fact, another wrestler who was in American Top Team when they were in MMA is Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley was in Top American Team, did phenomenally well. I want to say Ty. Is his name Tyree? Tyree Woodley. I'm a big fan of him. Also American Top Team. And like we had with Ethan Page, when I explained to you who Ethan Page was, if you follow and watch Happens NXT, I explained to you that Ethan Page also was dealing with Dan Lambert and Top American Team, Top American Top Team, sorry, and Paige Van Zandt and her husband are also from there. So let me tell you something. Nothing to play with when it comes to Lola Vice. Agreed, though, match of the night. Like, Roxanne gave her blood, her sweat, her tears, her mascara. They left it all on the mat, honey. Like, I don't see how you can come. Like, I didn't see how it was gonna fall back from that without that finish at the next match. Because, like, for Roxanne to hit 5 pop rocks, 1 in the ring, 1 on the table, 3 in the ring to close that shit out. But then you had Lola Vice, who literally showed fighting championship mentality, and you can't teach that. You can't teach that. You can't teach grit. And both them girls have grit, mind you. My friend made a joke. He was like, how are 2 of the most petite women stronger and displaying more than the men? Good question. If you don't like it, listen, this match to me easily the best match of the night. Strong offense here. I wish the only thing that was make it more believable. I know Lola can hit harder than that, honey. You are a master. You're dumbing down your moveset because it's wrestling. We get it. Please stop. I wish she would stop. I almost want, and I have to remember, I'm separating myself from Underground. I wish she would have handled it like she handled it in Underground. Just start shooting fists left to right. I know it's a different type of legal game, but start shooting them hands. Call the ref and find out what the legal rules are and start doing it the way you need to do it, because that's the only way you get in that belt. To see her dance and cry her promo, a lot of people got on her for that, but I like that they did that with her. It showed a different side of her. people think she's gonna be a face. I don't think she's gonna be a face. I think people are gonna like her though. I think definitely after this, she's gained a bigger following with this match and her at least going for it. And even her social media reaction, she didn't like bite like, oh, I'm coming back to get you, Roxanne. She was like, listen, I didn't make it, but I'm proud of myself. My family's watching. And then Roxanne to just be the lethal heel that I was praying for her to be when Homegirl was crying about how she her mom had to was like training with her in the womb and gave up her dream to raise her. And you know, we talked about her woohoo waters wet shit, but like Homegirl was like, okay, and like I call my moms too. Like, girl, I done talk. We've been here. I've given the sob story. You think I'm gonna feel bad for you? Like, girl, like I done did that. I done told how many. Everybody knows how many hours I was on a bus. Everybody knows Booker T's like the guy who gave me a bus card sometimes. Like, girl, bye. You ain't gonna win with me, and you can see it in her face. And for Lola to just be fueled by that and go, I'm gonna take this belt away from you. But all in all, again, great match, great moveset from both ladies. I was proud of them. I'm very proud of Roxanne too. I remember when she was Roxy and ROH, and I know that that belt's not going off her anytime soon, which is why I said it was perfect for them to make her two-time Rock. Before that, the belt was kind of going back and forth. It had its moment where you went from Mandy Rose being the longest reigning NXT champion. Then it got to Roxanne, sorry. Then it had to be relinquished. Then it went to Tiffy for a short minute because they wanted Becky to have it. Then it went to Lyra after that short minute with Becky. Then after Lyra, going to... Obviously, they dropped it to her at Stand Deliver because she got drafted, which was deserving as well. But like, yeah, like I feel like this time around, just let Roxanne have it for a while. Let her clean bitches out. Like, I want to see her have a match with Lash Legend personally, because if you survive Lash Legend, girl, and Lash Legend ain't one to play with either, because she been training good. She's always been good, but I think this now she's kind of ante up that, since she always comes up really short. She came up short with this match. It took 4 people to eliminate that girl. You don't think she gonna train up for the NXT Women's Championship? Please. But all in all, again, that was my match of the night. That was my pick of the night. We already covered a lot. We already covered Obafemi, and I'm just gonna cover this last visual. This is my last visual of the night before I close out really soon, because I'm gonna go into a rant. I want to talk to y'all. Shout out to WWE UK, because I couldn't find a picture of him smiling, and this was the only one I could find really short last minute. I need to talk about aura, and I need to talk about vision, right? When you're put in WWE, you've like, and I urge you all to go and watch Next Gen, because from the moment they walk through the door, they're chosen on what you can see from them that's going to help build the brand. Some people got the vision, some people are blind. We know the game. We've been here too long. We always go, oh, but why this person? This person has so much potential. This person had this. This person is okay, great. But if they don't see the vision, what we see does not matter. What we see doesn't matter. It is vision that has caused someone that has been a long wrestling fan to take his money and invest in 4 of the most experienced wrestlers in the game and put his money into a company called All Elite Wrestling, and then to gun and go home and be backstage and see his vision come to light, because he has a vision. We might not get the vision, but he gets it. Listen, we dealt with Mr. Redacted having the weirdest visions ever for a long time. We still watch the shit. We've been through some of the worst stuff. There's some stuff that I look back at now and I'm like, why didn't I turn the TV off? Like, why did my parents remove the remote? Probably why I got banned from watching it as a kid after a while in the first place. But if they don't have a vision for you, you're not going to go anywhere. Ethan Page going to WWE was not without vision, right? You're taking someone out of where they were, and they should have been appreciated. I'm going to slice it and dice it and everything. You should see in Ethan Page what you see for Jade Cargill. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like Jade Cargill and Ethan Page were in the same boat. You had them barely featured, and they're very good at what they do. Like Jade Cargill, I understand, probably a little bit more new to the game. She's a little more nuanced, but from what I heard when I was hearing about how she was when she was going to WWE in the first place, like if it wasn't for Mark Henry, she would have never even got the chance to. She tried out for WWE the first time, and then she went to AEW to get her licks up, and she gained a personality. She gained a following. She gained a fandom. She gained an attention to WWE to go, you can come over here. Like, let's go. The same thing you want for Jade Cargill, you should want for Ethan Page. Because if I go back to this picture, right? Look how many belts this guy has had. Look how many belts. And this is what they know. Like, you're talking about someone who was one of the longest reigning TNA tag team champions, who should have been in X division. He could have went on to be a TNA world champion. Went to AEW, had a great thing with American Top Team, and then it got lost in the sauce. How? Why didn't they let him go back to TNA and keep doing other things while he was doing that? They did for a little bit, but not long. Why? And it's about vision. It's like you have to see it to want to do it. And I hope I'm making sense when I say that, because if we're going to dive into this fatal four-way, right? As much as I would have wanted Trick to take that belt back, and I was gutted. Like, I at 10 something at night, me screaming, because I'm so shocked at how that happened so freaking fast. For him to lose that belt and for it to go to Ethan Page, like on a skimp win. And mind you, like all Ethan Page did was fall on Javon Evans, who was the MVP of that entire match. Like, there was like, if you look at every single move set and bounce back and how the pins have been falling, like, listen, Shawn Spears was just there to cause havoc. I don't even think he wanted that belt. I think he was just there to literally wreak havoc. I don't see it any other way. I don't see anybody else complaining about that. But the reason why I think the vision they have when Ethan Page went to WWE, he's fully aware. Listen, it's a machine, honey. That company puts out stars like nobody else, and everybody else can try, but they don't have it yet. And I say yet because I'm looking at, like, for example, the Mercedes Moné run. And listen, there's some things that they're doing for her that I know the WWE could have did, but they just did not completely do. And she's getting whatever she wants here, and that's fine for her. Not everybody's contract's the same at AEW, just like everybody's contract is not the same at WWE. Ethan Page saw that, and he said, I'm going to WWE. Like I said, there were people that got offended with Triple H's comment, but like there were people like him that were like, you say if you're not ready, but I'm ready. Like, I've been in the game long enough. I've been in the circuit. I've had a AJ Styles-esque run. What you gonna do with me? And then they put him in NXT and they make him a champion. Y'all can be mad it's not Trick all you want. Y'all can be surprised it's not Javon Evans. But the reason why Ethan Page is your new NXT champion is because they need a Lex Luger to Trick Williams Superman. Point blank period. There's no heels. There's no real heels on NXT. If y'all haven't noticed that by now, after watching, I missed like 2 weeks worth, and I watched like a month. I watched it all in one span before this even broadcasted again to make sure I was putting my money on it right. There's no devious heels on that brand. There's trolls and Izzy Dane and Fallon Henley, and even like with Jada Parker right now, it's hard to not like her because the internet already likes her. So people are gonna like her. People are cheering for her. She's cocky. She's meant to be a heel. She's more of a tweener. It's tweeners. There's nothing but tweeners there. There's nothing but tweeners on that brand. Lexus King is a tweener because he's just annoying. Shawn Spears is a tweener because you just like, dude, what are you doing? We know what you're up to. We always know you're ahead of the time. We don't know where the hell Ridge Holland stands. We don't have a Carmelo Hayes. We don't have anybody with real shock value. We don't have anybody like Braun Breaker who was putting people through walls and shit. Like, there's no real heels on that brand. Insert somebody who's all ego, all cocky, been around the world and back, knows their shit, knows their wrestling, literally said that, listen, I'm going to end that whoop that trick era by any means necessary. Hijacked a match that was meant to be a one-on-one match because, listen, if it wasn't for Yaka, honestly, only person I need to blame with before I get back to my point is Ora Mensa. Because somebody tell you to go interrupt in that match just because you wanted your lick back. We get it. That could have waited till after. And you could have thrown him off the top rope to help favor. But there's no real heels on that brand. It's more everybody's a tweener. They're liked or not cared about that much yet. And not to be mean, even Obafemi, right? He's meant to be, I guess, a dominant stature, but he's not a heel yet. I've yet to see him, like, I don't want him to do no ruthless shit at all, but I need him to do something diabolical. I need him to run Wesley through the wall or something. As mean as it sounds, the only way I'm believing him as a heel, there's no heel. And Ethan Page is the saving grace. If it's going to be another him and Trick Williams at like Great American Bash or something, there's no heel. Like, there's no heel. Only way I saw that Trick Williams was probably losing is if he's going to the main roster really soon, which I think they're probably going to jump that to the ring because he's so over. He's over even on the main roster, which they saw before already. But there's no heels. The only other person that they will probably give it to again, if they let him mature a little bit, he doesn't need to be the youngest champion yet, is Javon Evans. He is the most hyped, but it's not about hype. They have the potential to make, if they don't give it back to Trick Williams as quick as they want to, they have the chance to make Ethan Page one of the most sarcastic, cocky heels on the brand right now because NXT has none. They don't have much. I can't even think off my, like, everybody's comedic at this point when it comes to the heel game. The only person who's being more savage than anybody else on that roster, tossing people up and down is Omar Femi, and with their mouth is Roxanne Perez. Those are your heels. Everybody else is just, like I said, they're in between until they show that they're not. And that's where my point is at. But listen, it was just another notch on Ethan Page's belt. Listen, the machine works if you want to jump on it. And that's just what that was. A lot of people were saying he hasn't even been there a month and he's already the champion. Well, look at the person. Look at all the belts I just showed you that he had. Look at all of that. Like, look this. Like, there's like, we're really questioning who. And I know a lot of people are upset because you think of somebody like Ricochet who's leaving, who's gone, who didn't even get that far in NXT and didn't get that far also in the main roster. But again, it's vision. I don't even think it's anything else besides that. If they don't see something in you, they're not going to give it to you. How Sean treats NXT is going to be different than how Triple H treats him on the main roster. Like, you have somebody that two of the people that he said, I want to main event WrestleMania one day. One of them was just in Money in the Bank. The other one just had his first chance at the IC title after being there for only literally 2 months. They skipped the King of the Ring shit. That was their fault. But it's how they build them is going to be different than how Sean builds them. Point blank, period. All in all, I give HEATWAVE a A+. It was a great PLE through and through. Great opener, great after opener, great prequel and decent ending. That was a shocking ending. You couldn't have planned that better yourself because it just builds the story of how is Trick either going to get it back or he's going to give up. We'll see. NXT starts in 5 minutes. It starts with Wesley addressing the crowd. I want to thank all of you for staying up with me. I can't believe it's been so long. We're not going to be apart this long again. Let's make that promise to each other. We're just not going to be apart that long. But again, shout out to those wrestling girls for also streaming this on their platform. We're streaming this right now on Those Wrestling Girls X and on those Wrestling Girls YouTube channel. We're working on getting on my X, and we're working on getting on Instagram, because we do have Watch What Happens NXT on Instagram. That is Watch What Happens NXT on Instagram. You can follow me on reload.relive on Instagram, and here on Relive Via Film. And enjoy NXT tonight, you guys. I can't wait to chat up with you. I can't wait to talk about reactions next week. Next week, I will be bringing on a guest, somebody who has gotten into NXT with me, and somebody who I want their critique on how they feel about the brand. So I'm excited about that. Other than that, I will see all you lovelies later. Oh, and shout out to Cameron Seahawk on X. He just dropped his latest version of his graphic novel. Is called, he calls him The Usual Suspect. He actually put Trick Williams as his next up, which that's going to be my next up this week, per usual, because I'm waiting to see what they do with Trick Williams. I really think there's going to be a long storyline that we deserve to get. But if you haven't picked up that copy from him, that's Seahawk, that's CEE Hawk. Make sure you click on his link, buy the book, look into it. He put Kevin Knight on there, who I'm so obsessed with Kevin Knight. Y'all have no idea. He's from New Japan Pro Wrestling. I can't wait to read that section about him. Put Jordan Grace on there, who was just competing for the NXT Championship as well. On there, he had Hyatt. Hyatt is literally one of the best up and coming in the indie circuit right now. Oh, shout out to Vaughn. Shout out to Vaughn. If you are in DC, please go to BlurCon. Has a great panel. Last year, TWG, Black Wrestling, and Jobbers Dare podcast were featured at BlurCon. This year, Vaughn is the Victorious podcast is at BlurCon with Dr. D's panelists, and Dr. D's been in the game 4 years. He's been doing this longer than me. He has a great panel on there. Fam from Black Wrestling is on there. It's going to be a good panel. I will not be in DC this year, unfortunately, but I know you're going to do great things. I know you're going to kill it. I'm going to get off now because NXT is starting. I love you guys. I will see y'all